Welcome back to my channel. This is Leo's Nerd Talk, and today we're going to be discussing Arthur the King. So let's get into that. Arthur the King tells a story about a character named Mike, played by Mark Wahlberg, who is a adventure racer, and his comeback to try to win his final race ever. And along the way, he meets a furry friend to help him through all of his endeavors. Now, I didn't really expect much coming into this movie. You know, it looked interesting enough based on a true story about this guy named Mike, who is a venture racer where they do, kayaking, biking, hiking, climbing over a course of almost 400 miles, or I think it's like 400 plus miles under 5 days. And this guy, he goes through some hardship at the beginning. He ends up being kind of like the laughing stock. He stops racing for a couple of years, but then he really wants to go back because he feels like there's something empty inside of him. And when he goes back, finally recruits a crew and is out there going through all these rigorous tasks that he has to kind of go through with him and his team. He meets Arthur, a dog from this area that's kind of a street dog, and he kind of helps him along the way. And just that story itself is pretty intriguing. It seems pretty sweet. To me, I walked in thinking that this was going to be at least a kind of heartfelt movie than other than anything else. That's kind of what I was just hoping for, to have a good time, have some pretty good emotions, and that's about it. But it actually surprised me a lot more than I expected. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get into the pros for me. And if you guys know, I love true stories. I love biopics. I just love anything that has to do with something that happened in real life, because like I say all the time, sometimes things that happen in real life seem crazier than what someone can actually write on a script. And this is kind of one of those situations where, again, like I mentioned previously, they're tracking through these forests, hills, they're zip lining through the lakes and everything like that. And they're going miles and miles. The race in total is about 425 miles. And this dog that Mark Wahlberg's character sees in one of the kind of rest areas follows them throughout this entire time. And it's crazy to think that they were biking, they're going through lakes, they're using zip lines, and the dog is still there. Like, how did the dog find them? And it still seems kind of like a mystery to this day, because I mean, we really don't know how the dog did it, how the dog got to the place that they were supposed to get to, but it was there, and the dog ended up saving some of the guys' lives. He just was there as a companion to actually help them get through this crazy race that they're trying to do. And I'm a sucker for dog movies. Me having a dog as well, you think about just the companionship you have with a dog. It's one of your best friends ever, and seeing this kind of companionship between Mark Wahlberg's character, and Arthur the dog kind of happens so fast because of the situation that they're in. It is pretty emotional, and the dog is a little bit bloody, broken, and bruised, just like Mark Wahlberg. I like that comparison that they did there. This is a true story, but they definitely focused on that, where the dog and Mark Wahlberg character are kind of both at the bottom of their lives, where the dog is bloody, broken, and bruised. He's a street dog, never has any food. He has an infection in his skin from a wound that he got. And then you have, Mark Wahlberg character, where he's at the bottom of the barrel. People don't really respect him that much anymore as a adventure racer. He's training. He has bruises. His feet are bloody from training all the time for no reason. He tries to go out to get sponsors, build a team. No one wants to kind of, work with him just because of his reputation. All the sponsors are trying to shut him down. So that kind of parallel comparison between the dog and Mike, I enjoyed the way they did that. And the movie's pretty intense as well. A lot of the sequences, they're kind of just biking, they're running through certain trails. And at a certain point, I was like, okay, this is cool. I mean, this is a lot of, running and exercise, but I wanted something to be more intense. And it gave me that. There's this whole sequence with the zip line and the zip line getting stuck, and them trying to figure out how they're going to get to the other side of this zip line. Like, I was at the edge of my seat. I was really nervous. I was like, oh God, and you obviously know that they're probably going to make it through, just because there wouldn't be a movie if they didn't. But just that sequence itself was just really nerve wracking. And I like those intense moments that they had, where it seems like they were at a standstill and there was just a literal wall in front of them, and they had to overcome that with some crazy ideas to get past those kind of situations that actually made for an intense story. And of course, Arthur, the dog, just so much emotions there. There's so many sad sequences that definitely made my eyes be a little bit watery. I'm a sucker for dog movies. Anytime a dog gets hurt or anything like that within a movie that definitely pulls on my heartstrings. So that was all very, very emotional, very sad. And Mark Wahlberg did a pretty good job of portraying all his emotions about being there for the dog and wanting to take care of the dog. So yeah, I think acting all around was actually done pretty well. Um, of course, kudos to the trainer of the dog as well as the dog itself. The dog is an actor, and the dog did a very great job in the movie, and the person that trained the dog did a very good job as well to be able to do what the dog did in the film. So I think overall this movie did a pretty great job, and surprisingly, the movie theater was packed. I thought I was gonna be like one of the only ones in there, but this movie was packed, and I can hear audibly people getting excited. I heard people crying. Like that actually surprised me because I haven't been to the movie theater in a very long time where I'm with a bunch of people besides when I went to go see Dune Part 2. Like this theater was extremely packed, which is crazy to me. Like there's parts towards the end where something exciting happens with with Arthur the dog, and in my peripheral I see a guy just go like, yeah, and I was like, I didn't expect reactions like that for a movie like this where I felt like there wasn't too much marketing, that it's not a big blockbuster, that it doesn't really have too much merit in for people to be really excited for this film besides there's a dog. There was a woman next to me that I heard her crying, I heard her getting excited. Like there was just a surprisingly amount of excitement and emotion in the actual theater itself for this movie that I was not expecting to experience. Now on to the cons. I don't really have too much to say here in the cons. I think the movie did a pretty good job. I think maybe the end felt a little long-winded though. Like it kind of tricked me. Every time it was gonna end, it went one more scene, then it went another scene, and then it went another scene, and that's the only really thing I can think of. The movie did feel a little bit longer than its 1 hour and 47 minute long run time, but that's just mainly because of the end. The actual core pieces of the movie were paced very well. Just that ending bit felt a little bit long-winded towards the end, but besides that, that's really the only gripe I can give it. Rewatchability is depending on the mood. This movie is pretty rewatchable just because again it is only 1 hour and 47 minutes. It's pretty rapid pace in terms of the actual storytelling. But I think the rewatchability of just the emotion towards the end, that's always the hard part to get through just because you're not always in the mood to want to feel sad or have some hardship. So this movie is entertaining, but it's not one of those you can throw on whenever and kind of just have it in the background or just throw it on for fun. It's one of those movies you definitely have to be in the mood for. But I definitely highly enjoyed it. But let me know what you guys thought about Arthur the King. I'd love to hear you guys' thoughts in the comment section down below. I thoroughly enjoyed it, like I said. And if you guys like talking about anything movies, TV shows, or video game related, make sure to hit that like and subscribe button. And I'll see you guys on the next review. Thank you.